What if the Void is not merely a mindless force of destruction, but something far more perilous? Something that does not obliterate but rewrites reality itself, an empress of nothingness, born from oblivion, intent on bending this world to her will. Today we delve into the tale of Bel'Veth, the most mysterious and terrifying entity ever to grace Runeterra. Once a dimension slumbered peacefully, the Void. It slept in silence until new life burst forth in the universe. The Great Nothing recoiled at the emergence of worlds that disturbed its eternal repose. Thus the Void found a purpose: devour all things and restore the cosmos to its original state of nothingness. So new entities seeped into reality, becoming the first Void-born. They were offsprings of the Watchers, cryptic beings driven to reshape the world into the quiet of the old Void. Their essence commanded them to consume reality, for only then would all return to perfect silence. The Void's first strike on Runeterra occurred in the Freljord, during the age of the legendary Three Sisters and their war against the demigods. Among them stood Lissandra, wise but ambitious. During the conflict, she lost her sight and ability to harness demigod powers. Cornered, she embraced dream magic and in one of her visions made contact with the Watchers. Through her, they entered the material realm, perceiving an opportunity to manipulate mortals. They offered the pact, unaware of their true designs. Lissandra struck an accord on her sister's behalf. In exchange for readying Runeterra for the Void's arrival, the sisters gained power and near immortality, enough to conquer the Freljord. Armed with this might, the Three Sisters united the scattered tribes, leading their armies against the demigods in a quest to subjugate the icy lands. Yet the cost of their new power was higher than they ever expected. Over time, Lissandra came to know a horrifying truth. The Void's invasion spelled doom for everything she cherished. Once blinded by ambition, now she saw only the coming catastrophe. Hence she betrayed her once mighty patrons, casting the absolute will of the Watchers into a frozen prison. But her redemption came too late. Reality itself began unraveling. Mortal wars and the Watchers' attempts to breach the Freljord loosened the boundary between worlds, causing cracks. Their destructive contact with Runeterra altered the Void from simple destruction to devouring and distorting. Thus, an eerie pocket reality emerged in Shurima's heart, the Lavender Sea. This realm became a twisted echo of the real world, filled with grotesque, warped imitations of life that failed to grasp it. In time, it found something more than chaos, a consciousness. The Lavender Sea no longer simply answered the Watcher's bidding. It craved to remake all reality in its own image, forging a bizarre new order over endless nothingness. Absorbing more and more intelligent beings, the Lavender Sea drew inspiration from those it devoured and soon desired a sovereign to represent it, a physical vessel to engage mortals. The Lavender Sea reached out for a Shuriman boy named Malzahar, naming him the Void's prophet and feeding him visions of an empress for mortal minds and memories. After a great rift was opened, Malzahar succeeded in sinking the Shuriman port city Bel'Veth into the Void, enabling the Lavender Sea to fully consume and assimilate the city and part of the nearby ocean. By absorbing the collective consciousness of that entire city, Bel'Veth finally took shape as the Lavender Sea's physical avatar, adopting the city's name upon her birth. She was created from the myriad memories, experiences, and emotions of everyone who lived in Bel'Veth when it was lost, granting her centuries of wisdom and near omniscience. Still determined to devour and refashion all reality, she devised a plan to subjugate Runeterra and ultimately confront her creators, the Watchers. From deep within the Lavender Sea, Bel'Veth continues weaving the threads of her intricate design. Penetrating the minds of mortals, she can bend to her ends. Her voice echoes in the thoughts of the prophet Malzahar. Her will touches void creatures, luring them beneath her banner. Among those she summoned was Vel'Koz, the Eye of the Void, one of her earliest observers. Even though the Empress remains in Shurima, she is not limited by reality's walls. Her consciousness stretches far beyond her lair, extending to the edges of Noxus, where, according to the short story called A Different Hunger, Vel'Koz now dwells, studying mortals near the hamlet Tokagal. The teaser shows Bel'Veth reaching out to him telepathically, proposing more than just surviving in the Watcher's service. But her influence doesn't stop at the mind, it warps the Void's essence as well. The teaser depicts the usual denizens of the deep, the Void Swarm, assailed by uncanny fish-like forms, the Void-born Remora. These things do not only devour, they mutate their victims, subjecting them to the will of their new empress. Where these fish come from? The history of Bel'Veth holds the clue. When the port city sank into the Lavender Sea, not just humans but sea life were drawn in. Likely some aquatic fauna was reshaped by the Void, becoming new envoys of Bel'Veth. The teaser's final image is Vel'Koz, his single eye flitting nervously. This being, graced with cold logic and boundless knowledge, tastes something akin to fear for the first time. The devs hint plainly that even the Eye of the Void fears Bel'Veth. If so, her menace extends not only to Runeterra but to Watchers themselves. Recall, Vel'Koz is a scout who gathers data for his masters, the Watchers, observing this world, mapping its frailties, and relaying knowledge upward. Yet to Bel'Veth, he is an adversary. She has no desire to serve the ancient Void gods. Her aim is to rewrite existence in her own image. And now let us move on to the second teaser. Malzahar and Bel'Veth are bound by an unbreakable thread of fate. Their stories intertwine long before the Empress of the Void's name was first spoken in this world. Malzahar was once a simple wanderer roaming the vast Shuriman deserts in search of answers that tormented his mind. Yet destiny guided him to cursed Ikathia, a ruined city wiped out by a violent wave of the Void. Within its rubble and the Void's murmurs, his mind was warped and his soul reborn. He glimpsed truth no mortal could comprehend and accepted his calling to be the herald of oblivion. He began preaching the Void's word and later spoke the name of Bel'Veth, a previously unknown deity. Over time, he gathered followers prepared to follow him into the shadow of oblivion. At first, they sacrificed livestock, then humans. Many willingly surrendered themselves, believing this to be their highest purpose. In the teaser, we view the world through the prophet's eyes, witnessing the past, the port city Bel'Veth, first to fall to the Void's insatiable hunger. But this city was home to one of Runeterra's most famous champions. A young girl appears in the footage, holding a toy boat. This is Kai'Sa. Anyone familiar with her story knows that as a child she was swallowed by the Void along with her village's inhabitants. She alone survived and made it back, but what she experienced in the Void changed her forever. Soon we see the adult Kai'Sa. She notices that same toy boat, seemingly an echo from the past, rekindling forgotten memories. It draws her in, as though calling her back to a nightmare she once escaped. But why has she returned to the Void? The answer lies in Bel'Veth's plan. While consolidating her power, the Empress of the Void unleashed hordes of new creations called Void-born Remora. These beings preyed on other Void spawn, turning them into servants of Bel'Veth. Among them was a specialized group, the so-called Lamplights, lethal hunters designed to track down and subdue adversaries. During one of her journeys through Shurima's ancient tunnels, Kai'Sa confronted these creatures. After defeat, the Lamplights withdrew to the southern deserts of Sai Khalik. Over there, they found a Zersai colony and corrupted it. Its broodlings and their chieftains, the Zersai Callers, were mutated, taking on a faint blue glow, proof of their obedience to the will of Bel'Veth. Outraged by the intruders, a fierce Dunebreaker slew the Lamplights, then attacked Kai'Sa and Talia. Following a furious clash with the Zersai Queen, Rek'Sai, the Abyssal Huntress ended up on the brink of an abyss. Literally, the ground collapsed beneath her and Kai'Sa tumbled into the Void, plummeting into the depths of the Lavender Sea. It was no accident. All unfolded exactly as Bel'Veth foresaw. Once inside her realm, Kai'Sa came across an unfamiliar entity which soon revealed its true shape as a monstrous empress. Attempting to fight back proved futile. Bel'Veth shattered her resistance with ease. Cornered, Kai'Sa realized she faced something far beyond a typical Void spawn, an embodiment of the city Bel'Veth itself, which once existed but was consumed and remade into something utterly different. Such an idea sounded impossible, as Voidborn had never displayed such deep consciousness or will. When Kai'Sa swore to slay Bel'Veth, the Empress responded calmly that her struggle was futile. Long before, Bel'Veth had orchestrated a meticulous, cunning plan culminated in the ultimate devouring of reality. She added that all who opposed her, including Kassadin, Kai'Sa's father, had fallen one by one. That mention pierced Kai'Sa's heart, causing her to question everything. Yet, for all her anger, Bel'Veth had no reason to lie. She offered Kai'Sa a choice: either help obliterate the Ancient Watchers, and thus buy humanity a little time, or perish with everyone else when reality is finally consumed by the void. Bel'Veth felt certain of a victory, yet allowed mortals a chance to resist, even though it was pointless in her eyes. Incensed by the notion of working with such a horror, Kai'Sa tried one last time to strike, but once again she failed. The Empress halted her easily, lifting her high with a single flap of a wing, then returned her to the surface with one message: seek out the Watchers and learn how to destroy them. Thus ended their initial encounter, though the saga of Bel'Veth and her struggle against Runeterra is just beginning. For now though, do subscribe to our channel to stay up to date and not miss new insights into the League of Legends universe. And see you guys soon over among of the finest tale in all of Runeterra.